Hi crafty friends, Carrie here. So I'm going to make the glassine bags using the tissue paper from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to show you the bag here. Now, as I explained in the other video, this tissue paper is a little bit heavier and it has a slightly waxy coat. It feels more like deli paper. And then here's a comparable paper that you can get at the Dollar Tree. Okay, and there's the brand at the Dollar Tree that you can look for. You only get 5 sheets from the Dollar Tree, and only 2 of them are prints. The others are coordinating solid. So I really think it's a bit better deal to get it at Hobby Lobby. Okay, now some other things that you're going to need besides a piece of tissue paper. You're going to need glue. I'm going to use the Tombow Aquamano glue. You can use any glue you like. I just like that one because it's not a very thick glue and you don't really need a lot. I'm going to do some decorative edging, so I pulled out a few pair of these decorative edge scissors. You could also use pinking shears, or yours does not have to have a decorative edge. Okay, so I should mention I did iron this tissue paper. You can just set your iron on high and then iron it from the back side. Just move your iron frequently so you don't get any burn marks. Okay, so I'm deciding what size bag I want, and I decide to make a bag that is about 4 inches wide by 7 inches high. And to have a bag 4 inches wide, you will need a piece of paper that is going to be about 8.5 inches wide. So I'm just going to use my trimmer to do that. I just cut it at about 7 inches using a line as a guide. I'm going to set this at like 8.5 and then just put it in there. If you use a paper trimmer on thin paper, you're better to start in the middle like I did there. Okay. So I'm just laying this on my crafting mat, and I'm going to fold the first side in about 2 inches, and I'm just using my craft mat as a guide. And I'm just kind of doing it with my fingers. You don't really need a bone folder. So now this one, I'm going to want to do like about 2.5 inches, and I'm just kind of looking at that and estimating that going across. Okay. You can just decide which way you like your flap to go. And take the bottom, and I'm going to fold it up close to 1/2 inch, not quite probably. Just a little less than 1/2 inch. Okay, now I'm going to do a decorative edge on the top, so I'm going to use these scissors. And I'm just going to just snip a little bit off of the top. And then with this being tissue paper, sometimes it doesn't cut exactly right. So I'm just going back in and trying to clean it up a little bit. Okay. Now I want the front of my bag to be a little lower than the back. So I just cut a little, probably a little more than 1/4 inch, not quite 1/2 inch. And I just come in and use my scissors and come across. And then just trim it off there. And then you'll have that decorative lip there. Okay, so for the back, we are going to take off these 2 pieces on the sides. And I cut just a little bit above the fold. I cut right on that fold. But then on the longer fold, I cut just a slight little bit above it so you don't have any extra bulk down at the bottom. Okay. And then I'm just going to round the bottom here with my scissors. Okay. I'll take the glue, and what I'm going to do is just run a small thin bead right there on that edge, and then on the other side I will run a small thin bead there from the top to the bottom, and then there you go, just press it down. Make sure you didn't have any glue sticking to the back, and then a little bit around the edge there, and ta-da! You have a faux glassine bag. Okay, so next I'm going to show you how to make a little envelope. And what I'm going to do here is, this paper is just a little bit more than 7 inches high. So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to count over about 7 inches. And then I'm just going to use the writing on the bag as a guide. I'm not going to bother and just cutting it fairly straight. And then I am going to take my cutting board, set it to 7 inches, and then just trim 2 of the sides just to make sure that I've got a nice straight cut. Now, if you have a envelope punch board, you can use that, but with this thin paper, you really don't need to score it so much. So all I do is I line it up using my mat as a guide, and then pull the 2 over and pull them down. And then here I just kind of bring that up so it's just a little bit above like that. Push it down. Now I'm going to take my little tool here and just run it across for the envelope, just to make sure I have a good crease there. And then the top piece, I just kind of bring it so it overlaps a little bit. And again, just going to push it down. Okay. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to take out these little triangles where you have the folds where they met at. And on the top, the triangles are very small because I didn't bring it down as much, but I'm still going to take those little triangles out. Okay. Then I'm going to put a little dot of glue on that corner, a little dot on that corner, and then I'm just going to bring them over. Just make sure you got it positioned good and straight. Then just a little glue on the side. And then just, I'm going to come up here and stop just before you get to the top. Okay. I'm just checking to make sure I didn't glue anything down. You could put some little, like double-sided tape or something on here to use for later to seal it, but probably I won't really need to seal it. And then you have a nice little envelope. And that's just a quick little way to make a little square envelope. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to make a smaller bag. And what I end up deciding to do is I decide to make a bag that is about 2.5 inches wide. And so since I want 2.5 inches, I need my bag the paper to start with to be just a little bit over 5. So I just push that there because that gives me just a little bit more than 5 inches. And then I'm going to fold this in about 1.5 inches. or just a little bit less than 1.5. And then I will bring this side over as well. I'm just counting and make sure I've got it positioned right. Fold it down. And then on this back, because it's so much smaller, I'm just folding it up just a little bit. And I'm also going to do a decorative top, but I'm not going to make a lip on this one. So I'm just going to use these pinking style decorative scissors. And it's kind of the same thing, because the paper is thin, it's a little bit harder to cut. And I try to clean it up a couple of times here. And then I get irritated, so I just use my scissors and snip out the little pinking shape. Okay. And now we're going to do the same thing on the bottom, cut off those 2 outside rectangles. And then what I decided to do on this one is just take a little snip and just make like a little angled cut there on the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing with a bead of glue on each side. And then the glue there. And then we have a small little bag. So now we have a big bag, a little bag, and an envelope. And now I'm going to take the paper from the Dollar Tree, which I did also try to iron, but as you can see, the creases did not come out as well on that one, I think because it's foiled. And I'm going to make a similar size bag, like one that about 7 inches high and about 4 inches wide. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to use the pattern on the paper as a guide. And again, I'm going to get this, I'm going to set this to about 8.5. Again, started in the center and then pulled. Okay. I'm just trying to smooth out that fold a little bit more. And I'm actually going to just take my little tool and just try to rub it out just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with folding in about 2 inches. And then folding in about 2.5, or a little bit less than 2.5. Okay, I decided that I want to make a curved edge. So I'm going to use this mug, but I need to use the top piece. So I'm just emptying it out. And then you can see I put it so it's just touching the edges. I'm just going to use one of my micron pens to lightly come around. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my scissors here. And then those scissors are giving me a hard time, so I switched to a different pair. I'll just snip it off, okay. Now I open it up and I want to make a curve here. So I'm just going to take this roll of tape and kind of use it as a guide. Because I just want to put a little bottom curve there. And then I just take my scissors and start at the edge and just kind of follow the little bit of a curve. Okay. Then I'm just putting my bag back. Folding up the bottom piece. And take off the little side panels again. And then when I look at that, I don't like that little white piece there, so I'm just going to use this and do a decorative edge on the bottom. And then I just snip the corners a little bit with it as well. Okay, and then I'm doing my beaded glue. So then that's really it. However, I'm going to turn this over in a minute, check it out, and when I look at it, I decide I don't like it being quite that high up. So I just take my scissors and cut off a little bit using a curve just to make it a little bit smaller, not quite as high. And I like that better. Okay. So that's going to conclude this tutorial. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Thank you for watching, and I hope everybody has a great day.